Okay, I get asked this question by a few people who have just moved to UAE, or just casually people asking me, "Why, what would you advise us in terms of as a UAE expat, because you've been there?" So I use the analogy, if I could go back in time to my younger self who was working in UAE, what advice would I give? So these are like 6 or 7 points I'm going to give you. If you are in UAE as an expat, especially as an employee, okay, let's limit it to employee. What are the 6 or 7 pieces? Seven pieces of advice I would give you. The first one that I would give every employee or UAE expat is I would caution them about okay, let me not put it in the way I wrote it. Let me rephrase it. Let me tell you. The first thing I would tell every UAE expat is be careful of having the sense of security. Be careful. Some people call it sense of security, some people call it comfort zone. See, what happens is when you come to UAE first time, it's new, wow, this, that, and you're very afraid. And then finally you're searching for a job, you're searching, and finally you get a job. After you get a job, oh, I got a job. Then they stamp your visa, oh, my visa is stamped. Then you get the salary, oh, I got the salary. And then as you start proving yourself, you settle down, you know the company, you know your colleagues. So then what happens, you develop this sense of security. And then slowly you adjust yourself and go into the comfort zone. The first thing I would caution you is never, ever, ever buy or believe or assume that you can be in your comfort zone. You can't. You know, the day you get in your comfort zone, you'll be addicted to it. And then when you get in your comfort zone, you let down your guard. And that's the beginning of all your problems. Because when the day for you to lose your job comes, they're not going to tell you. It's just going to happen suddenly. So the first thing I would tell you is, don't get fooled by the sense of security and by your comfort zone. That's number one. Number two, in UAE, I'll tell you, for example, India is a different market. UK is a different market. Pakistan is a different market. Even in the Middle East, Saudi is a different market. Bahrain, Qatar, Oman. So UAE, there are certain mannerisms. There are certain ways. I'm not talking of the language. Language is like English, Arabic, Hindi, whatever. You should learn the art of communication. Not public speaking, not the sales pitch. You should know how to talk to different people. How do you talk to a laborer? How do you talk to a businessman? How do you talk to a rich guy? How do you talk to a poor guy? How do you talk to a Indian? How do you talk to a Pakistani? How do you talk to a Emirati? How do you talk to a conservative Muslim? How do you talk to a conservative Christian? How do you talk to a modern guy? How do you talk? So that communication, that skill, you need to really sharpen, and it's very unique. I wish I could describe it or define it. And the thumb rule for you to know whether you're good at communication is whether you're able to generate revenue for yourself, create interest for yourself, sell your services, get appointments, negotiate salary or rates. If you're able to do that, I'll tell you, it's damn good. Like for example, in Mumbai, they say that street language or being street smart, there's a manner in surviving in Mumbai, on the streets of Mumbai. In the same way, in the streets of or in UAE, there's a certain mannerism, and the communication is not limited to only what you speak. It's how you act, how you behave, your non-verbal language, your body language, eye movements, the way you sit, posture, your shoulders, hands, arms, how you carry yourself. So this is very, very vital, and that separates winners from losers. I'm not saying dress up in a three-piece suit and talk like fluently in Arabic. No, even people who speak in Urdu and Hindi and English or broken language, even those who are not rich, if you know the art of communication, you can survive. Number 3, this is very important, and see, communication also, how you speak to your boss, your CEO, your colleagues, people below you. See, number 3 is, everybody gets a contract, 2-year contract or 3-year contract. My strongest suggestion to you is, every year when your contract is up for renewal, 1 year to 6 months in advance, start looking out for another job. I'm serious. Start looking out for another job. Keep changing your job. I know there is a risk you might end up in a job you don't like, or with a boss you don't like, or colleagues you don't like. But the more you change your job, the more you go to new environments, new companies, new brands, you will pick up skills and survival skills. You'll get a broader perspective of people, their personalities, mannerisms, and you'll become a more well-rounded individual. That is why you see people who have worked with one company for 20 years, 30 years, the day they resign or they're terminated, they find it very hard to fit into another culture. But people who keep changing their jobs, they're like water, like Bruce Lee used to say, water. They fit in anywhere. They know how to survive. Yes, you will make mistakes when joining a new company. You'll be like, fuck, I can't take this, or oh, I made a mistake here, my previous company was better. But this helps you become a much better leader. And in the long term, you will be able to handle just about anyone. So don't stick to one company. And also another thing is, when you are with the same company, seldom if ever, they will give you a very big raise. Okay. Point number 4. I think we do this in small ways. You need to reinvent yourself. You need to keep becoming better. Now, people generally reinvent themselves by a degree, MBA, PMP, a qualification, a course, a certification. Okay, that is one aspect of it. I'm talking overall, your physique, your looks, your appearance, your clothes, your communication skills, how you market yourself, the people you hang out with, every single thing. In fact, a lot of people who stay in Sharjah, they stay in Ajman, it's a different feeling. You stay in Al Quwain, different feeling. Stay in Dubai, it's a different feeling. And you stay in Dubai, Karama is different, Dera is different, Horalans is different, Arabian Ranch is different, Marina is different. So what happens is, it forces you to keep changing and becoming a new person, because you're going to new environments. So keep reinventing yourself in order to sustain and survive. Then, this one is, I think, I'm coming to the most important bits now. The most important, this one is, which people don't calculate, is your time. I've seen so many people who stay in Ajman or Ras Al Khaimah, and they drive all the way to Dubai. And they do that is because rent is cheaper there. But the sad fact is, these people don't calculate the amount of time that it takes to drive from Dubai all the way to Ras Al Khaimah. Some people spend 4.5, 5 hours in traffic. If you calculate your time, that is, if you know what is the value of your time, 5 hours per day, multiply that 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Man, you can literally finish an MBA program. Okay, there are some people, what they do is, like me, I didn't have many options. So what I did was, I used to listen to educational tapes. I never listened to the FM. I never listened to love songs. I listened to educational tapes. And that helped me kill the time. Because those days, I was staying with someone else, you know. So you need to factor in your time. And I tell a lot of people, if you're working in Dubai, pay a little more and stay in Dubai. Don't drive down and be stuck in traffic for 2-3 hours a day. Minimum, what it is predicted is, people spend at least 3 to 5 hours a day. Minimum 1 hour, maximum 5 hours in traffic. Believe me, it's not worth it. So factor in your time. I think I'm going to a climax. It's coming to the most important points. Point number 6 is, you must know your rate per hour. See, being an employee, most of the people know what is the salary per month. This is actually a mistake, and I'll tell you why. See, how the salary per month is come is, you calculate per hour, work for 8 hours, multiply into 26 days a month, and you get a salary. However, what companies in the Middle East they do is, they don't follow the international standards of 8 hours of work, and in those 8 hours you get 1 hour break. That's how it's supposed to be done internationally. How companies in UAE do is, you work in your contract 8 hours a day, they'll make you work 14 hours a day. After 8 hours, they'll say, oh, we need some extra work. They'll make you work 12 hours, 14 hours. Then on top of that, you spend in traffic. Overall, people literally end up 14 hours or 16 hours working and in traffic. So if you actually look at it, whatever salary you're getting is 50%. Let's say you agreed for 10,000 dirhams as your salary. That was agreed for 8 hours of work. Okay? But now your company takes advantage of you. They make you do 2 people's work, 3 people's work. So when they make you do 2 people's work, you're not getting 10,000. Oh, that was really hard wind. So that is not 10,000 you're getting. Now you are getting actually paid 5,000. Because if they had to employ 2 people like you, they would pay 10,000, 10,000. Instead, now they have to pay only 10,000. So if you had charged them per hour, you would get 20,000. Now you're getting only 10,000. So you see how they're taking advantage of you. And then they give you bullshit. No, you have to achieve your target. I don't care whether you come or don't come to work. You achieve your target. See, in a way they are right. There are a lot of people who just sit on their ass and warm the chair and just kill time. For such people, yes, it's very applicable. But majority of the companies, they will agree for an 8-hour contract and they'll give 16 hours of work. So you need to know your rate per hour. When you know your rate per hour, you'll respect yourself more. You know, that is why whenever I deal with any client, I always ask him, what is the work? What are we supposed to do? If the client is vague, I tell them my rate per hour is so and so. It's $200 around. So, it's 2.7, sorry. So now what happens is, if you want to take 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't mind. Take 10 hours because I'll get paid per hour. So what people tend to do is, when they know they're paying me per hour, they get to the point. They don't waste time. But on the other hand, if I would say, okay, $207, no matter how much time. There are people who have taken 4 hours just sitting and talking nonsense. In the corporate world, why do you think they have meetings? People sit, oh, let's discuss with the meetings. Each one talks. They waste 4 or 5 hours in a fucking meeting. What do you achieve in a meeting? That is why some of the meetings that were held, I know in my friend's company, is to say, when we have meetings, we all stand, where it's uncomfortable, not in the AC. We stand where it's hot, and we stand there with notes, and we are standing. So everyone has to speak fast because people are uncomfortable. Nobody wants to stand in the heat. So they finish it fast. They have an agenda. Okay, got it, thank you, okay, finish. But on the other hand, if you sit down in a conference room with AC, tea, coffee, each one will give fart out their opinions, debate, talk, waste time. What do you achieve by meetings? Nothing. So when you know your value per hour, you'll respect yourself even more. That is why, you know, when I used to deal with people in UAE, I used to ask them, okay, let's have a Skype session. Those days there was no Zoom. They say, no, come for a meeting. I would tell them, okay, if you do it on Skype, 15 to 20 minutes to half an hour, it's free. If you want me to come all the way there, I'll charge you for the travel, I'll charge you for the parking, and I'll charge you for the time to come back. So people will say, oh, okay. And sometimes if it was like from Sharjah to, I have to go to Abu Dhabi, I'd say, boss, I'm going to travel 4 hours to sit and talk to you. You tell me what you want here. Others, I'm going to charge you money for coming all the way till there. When you tell them I'm going to charge you $1,000 for my time, they'll be like, So people, they will respect your time. That is why anyone talks to me, send me, hey Loy, big fan of yours. Straight away, what do you want? Don't give me sweet talk. What do you want? To the point. Because I value my time. So if there was the most important advice I would give you, learn to value your time. Know your rate per hour. And that is where, when someone gives you a monthly salary, if they make it very big and all that, a smart person will not jump with joy. He will calculate, how much time do I have to spend here? How many days a week? How much of traveling is there? How many off days will go? So, and sleepless nights. That way, you learn to respect yourself and you'll value your per hour rate. So always determine your per hour rate. If you want a little bit more guidance on this, if you're interested, let me know. I'll make a separate video on how you can determine your per hour rate. And the last piece of advice that I would give you is, that is point number 7, is, see, remember, iPhone, new models come out every year. Android, Samsung, Oppo, new phones come out every year. Software gets updated once every 2 months, 3 months. Cars, new models come out every year. So when the world is changing every month, every few weeks, every few years, don't you think you have to change? See, just think about it. When we were young, there was no iPhone, iPad, iPod. There was no social media. There was no, Zoom. I mean, we lived in a different generation altogether. Pagers were there. Before pagers, there were telephone with a wire. I mean, and there was typewriters. So times change. Before we could look at it every 10 years, 20 years. Today, every 6 months, the world is changing. So if the world is changing, don't you think you have to change? So the main thing which I would tell you is, don't just change. Try to be future-proof. Look far ahead of time. Try to anticipate what is going to happen. And, strategize accordingly, where you reinvent yourself and become future-proof. I know it's not possible to be correct or accurate. In fact, it's very easy for me to say this when I myself don't have an answer for so many things that will happen. But you can't sit with the excuse, oh, I don't know, I'll sit down. No. You really have to fight it out. You really have to get off your ass and say, okay, I'm going to figure this thing out. So, like they say, like the new iPhone is coming out, the new softwares are coming out, new technology is coming out. Change with the times and try to keep yourself relevant. Otherwise, one fine day you will be outdated, and then you will wonder what happened to all those years and all those achievements and all that contribution. And yes, they say all the track record. So these are the 7 pieces of advice that I would give UAE expats. You guys let me know which one you think was valid, which one you think was useful, what do you agree, disagree with. Based on that, I would always like to read. Oh, wind is too much, man. Oh my god, it's too much. It's like the trees are literally shaking. You see all this? Very scary. Anyway, you guys let me know what do you think. Hurricane is coming. Something like that. Okay, let me know what do you think. I'm signing off. You guys take care. Alright, ciao.